Every time you drive past that random pole on your street, the one with that little white box strapped to it, a camera is snapping a picture of your license plate. Right then and there. It's logging the exact time, your exact GPS coordinates, your car's make, model, color, literally every scratch, dent, and bumper sticker you have. And then it takes all of that data and just uploads it into a massive national database, a database that pretty much any law enforcement agency in the country can search. They don't need your permission, they don't need a warrant, and honestly, there's a really good chance you had absolutely zero idea this infrastructure was quietly being built right outside your front door. Welcome to this explainer. We're going to pull back the curtain on exactly how this surveillance system actually operates, what it's capturing, and crucially, what we can actually do about it. Have you ever seriously considered your physical car to be a surveillance device? Just think about it for a second. Over the last decade or so, we've all learned to protect our phones, right? We know all about data breaches, location tracking, SIM swapping, the whole shebang. But most of us have never once thought about our physical vehicles as these giant beacons just broadcasting our daily movements. Every single time you drive to a doctor's appointment, visit a buddy out of state, or even drive past a political rally, that trip is being logged. You are quite literally driving a physical tracker through a massive invisible net. And guys, when I first started digging into just how massive this net actually is, the scale completely blew my mind. Right now, as we speak, there are over 120,000 of these cameras operated by a company called Flock Safety. 120,000. They are currently active in literally every single U.S. state, with the one sole exception being Alaska. More than 6,000 different law enforcement agencies are tapped into this network today. So this isn't some dystopian science fiction movie, and it's definitely not some fringe internet theory. This is a massive physical reality operating on the exact streets you drive down every single day. Okay, let's dive into this. How does a company that most regular citizens have literally never even heard of suddenly hit a $7.5 billion valuation? I mean, you definitely don't reach a number like that by accident. You reach it by building a piece of tech that fundamentally rewrites the rules on how data is collected and packaged up for law enforcement. To really grasp their business model, we need to understand exactly what those little white boxes are doing the second you drive past them. So in the industry, these cameras are called ALPRs, automatic license plate readers. But honestly, don't let that name fool you. These are not your standard traffic cameras. They don't care about your speed, and they aren't just sitting there recording a continuous, boring video feed of the asphalt. What they actually do is act like a highly specialized data extraction tool. The second a vehicle passes into its field of view, the ALPR snaps a photo and instantly extracts a custom data package. Flock officially calls this package a vehicle fingerprint. Now take a really close look at the sheer depth of this vehicle fingerprint. Look at the specific areas being targeted here. Sure, obviously it grabs your license plate, the state it's registered in, the make, the model, the color, but look at the other data points. It's pulling in bumper stickers, roof racks, unique damage patterns like a cracked taillight, the exact timestamp and exact GPS coordinates. And here is the part that almost everyone completely misses. Even if you deliberately covered up your license plate, this AI-driven system can still positively identify your specific car just based on its unique physical characteristics alone. It literally turns your car's physical appearance into a highly searchable digital footprint. And look, here's exactly where this goes from being, a mild privacy headache to a massive, totally unchecked shift in power. Flock operates what they call a national sharing network. What that means is any law enforcement agency that signs a contract with Flock can just go in and search data from any other participating agency's cameras, straight across state lines. A local cop in one state can type in a vehicle fingerprint and instantly get hits from cameras thousands of miles away. And there is absolutely zero judicial oversight required to do this. No judge, no warrant needed. They literally just log in, type, and search. So the crucial point is the data retention. This information isn't just scanned, checked for warrants, and then instantly deleted. No, the data is retained for up to 30 days per camera. When you do the math and multiply 30 days of continuous 24/7 logging by 120,000 active cameras, you quickly realize that we are talking about billions of location data points that are fully stored and searchable at any given moment, which means thousands of agencies that you have never once interacted with suddenly have a 30-day retroactive window looking directly into your physical, day-to-day movements. And this cross-state tracking capability, it is already being heavily used across the entire political spectrum. For instance, in Texas, local police actually used Flock's national network to search across 83,000 cameras in states like Washington and Illinois, specifically to track a woman traveling for an abortion. On the flip side, ICE has actively used this flock data to track down undocumented immigrants, and they've done this even in sanctuary cities that have explicit local laws prohibiting city resources from assisting in federal immigration enforcement. On top of all that, the Institute for Justice has already identified over 100 documented incidents of ALPR abuse. We're talking actual cases of stalking and people being subjected to wrongful, high-risk traffic stops. And this brilliantly illustrates the massive disconnect between what local governments actually think they're buying and what is really happening behind the scenes. See, when a city council approves these cameras, they almost always assume that the local police control the data and that it stays strictly within city limits. But that is completely an illusion. When cities signed on with Flock, the default setting on most of these contracts was for national sharing to be turned on. It was an opt-out system, not opt-in. Cambridge, Massachusetts is a perfect documented example of this. The city council there explicitly approved the cameras only after being assured the data was strictly city-controlled, only to discover later on, yep, national sharing was active by default the entire time. Local privacy laws are just being completely bypassed by this national database architecture. Plus, as we've seen with pretty much any massive data infrastructure ever built, there are some severe, completely hidden security vulnerabilities here. In December 2025, security researchers stumbled onto a genuinely alarming discovery. They found that some of Flock's advanced AI-powered PTZ cameras, those are the heavy-duty ones with pan, tilt, and zoom capabilities, were literally just fully accessible on the public internet. No login required, no passwords, no authentication whatsoever. Anyone who managed to find the right IP address could just sit there at their computer and watch a live, zooming feed of a random neighborhood street. Okay, so hearing all this, what can you actually do about it right now? Well, here are 4 highly actionable steps you can take today to protect yourself. First, pull up flocksafety.com/transparency. They actually have a public map there where you can search your own city, see exactly where these cameras are located, and check whether your local police are sharing data nationally. Second, demand that your city council officially opts out. Just so you know, more than a dozen cities completely ripped these systems out in 2026 alone just because their constituents pushed back. Third, the ACLU runs an active campaign. It's got a great name, Get the Flock Out, and it features template letters and legal resources. Go use them. And fourth, look, while it might feel a bit uncomfortable, it is just a factual reality of the system. You can actively obscure your unique vehicle features. The fewer bumper stickers you have, the fewer distinctive roof racks or unique marks on your car, the significantly weaker your vehicle's fingerprint becomes in their database. Let's move to and see how this builds into an even larger picture. Because the crazy part is, Flock is really just one piece of the puzzle here. There is a much wider, parallel surveillance infrastructure operating entirely in the private sector right now. Take Vigilant Solutions, which is a subsidiary of Motorola. They are logging over 80 million scans every single month. And it's not just the police scanning you, it's insurance investigators and private parking lot operators feeding into this massive data pool. Then you have DRN, the Digital Recognition Network. These guys literally mount cameras on top of private repo and tow trucks that continuously drive around photographing parked cars in driveways and residential neighborhoods. They feed all of that into a commercial database that law enforcement then just pays to access. Government cameras on poles, private repo trucks rolling through your neighborhood, cameras scanning you at the mall parking lot, it is all interconnected and it's all completely searchable. And the wild thing is, this entire system was built so incrementally. City by city, camera by camera, quietly, without any real public debate. It has grown so vast that in an April 2026 federal brief, the ACLU argued that this specific network grants the government, and I quote, unprecedented powers of surveillance that upset traditional expectations of privacy under the Fourth Amendment. And just to ground this in our current legal reality for a second, a bipartisan amendment was actually introduced to a federal highway funding bill recently to restrict this exact technology across the board. And guess what? It failed. The infrastructure remains firmly in place. So you now understand the silent surveillance network that's tracking your physical car, capturing its unique fingerprint, and logging its movements across state lines every single day. But your vehicle is just one surveillance surface. What happens the second you step out of it? In our next explainer, we are going to look at the invisible, unavoidable signal broadcasting from the devices sitting in your pocket right now every few seconds. A signal you literally cannot turn off that is tracking your exact physical location at this very moment. Are you ready to see how deep the network really goes?